Hello, dear students. We will now be discussing Chapter 6, Consumer Behavior. This chapter explores the reasoning behind why consumers do what they do. These are the intended learning objectives of this chapter. We will outline the 6 steps in the consumer decision process, distinguish between high involvement and low involvement purchase decisions, identify the 3 types of influences that affect the consumer decision process, describe the 5 social factors, the 5 psychological factors, and the 4 situational factors that influence consumer behavior. And at the end of the chapter is a chapter summary. Why do you think consumers shop? What are some of the things that affect your decisions when you are shopping? What is consumer behavior? Consumer behavior is the process through which the ultimate buyer or household consumer makes purchase decisions. Companies must understand the core needs and wants of their customers and the many factors that influence their purchasing behavior. In understanding what affects consumers' decisions to shop, marketers are able to understand the needs and wants of the consumer and the greater market. Marketers should learn the factors that influence consumers' decisions in shopping to understand the consumer's needs and wants. Although we might not be aware of it, consumers usually complete a step-by-step process when making purchasing decisions. These are the steps in consumer decision process. First is problem opportunity recognition. Consumer becomes aware of a gap between an existing situation and a desired situation. The next stage is information search. Consumers conduct internal and external information search to acquire information to assist in the attainment of the desired state. Then next is evaluation of alternatives. As a result of the information search, consumers identify appropriate alternatives on their evoke set. We will be discussing what evoke set later, and utilize evaluative criteria to judge the options. Next is purchase decision. This is when consumers narrow choices to their top options and decide where to make the purchase. Then next is the actual purchase behavior. This is when consumers actually purchase the product. And afterwards is the post-purchase evaluation. Consumers evaluate the purchase to determine whether it helped them achieve the desired state and how satisfied or dissatisfied they are with the product. The first stage in the consumer decision process is when the consumer becomes aware of a gap between his or her existing situation and a desired or ideal situation. Let's take, for example, a student named John who is hungry. His existing situation is that he is hungry, and the desired or ideal situation is to be able to find the food that he likes, which will satisfy his hunger and thus makes him feel full. The marketer's main task is to help prospective buyers identify and recognize potential problems or needs through advertising, promotions, personal sales assistance. The second stage is the search for information, wherein the consumer gathers information about different ways to solve a problem or achieve the desired state. In our example, John will search for where to buy food and what type of food to eat. This search may cover internal or external sources of information. The internal search means conducting a mental review. So here he tries to remember what was that food that he had tried before and recalls that he ate a delicious pizza last week, which he is now craving for. External search means gathering information from all kinds of outside sources. He now thinks of ways to find pizza. He may want to go to the nearby mall or store, or maybe he may try to search for pizza through Grab or Food Panda. From the internal or external search, consumers identify alternative brands or models for consideration and possible purchase. The evoke set is the collection of alternatives a consumer considers when making a decision. The number of brands included may vary from the situation and the person. So John is now thinking of either Pizza Hut, Shakey's, or Yellow Cab Pizza. So in order to influence John's information search, marketers can use advertising, websites, publicity, or personal selling. The next is evaluation of alternatives. Some evaluation takes place as the search progresses, like consumers accept, distort, or reject informations. So now John tries to evaluate among the three choices of pizza brands as to which among them is more delicious, affordable, or easy to order, or maybe which one has a buy one, get one promo. Marketers attempt to influence the outcome in three ways. They may educate consumers about attributes or qualities they view as important in evaluating a particular class of products. Next, they may identify which evaluative criteria are important and attempt to show why a specific brand fulfills those criteria. Then they may induce a customer to expand the evoke set to include their product. Next is the purchase decision. The consumer has evaluated each alternative and narrowed the options down to one. The consumer then decides where to make the purchase. So at this point, John has decided on choosing Yellow Cab. The next step is the purchase behavior or the actual purchase act. The purchase may be made online or in person or at a retail store or a restaurant. Delivery options may influence the decision as to where to purchase an item. So this is when John actually go to a Yellow Cab restaurant or order online. The next stage is post-purchase evaluation. This is when John evaluates the purchase, and evaluating the purchase leads to two outcomes. First is satisfaction. So satisfaction is when John got the pizza delivered, ate it, and find it delicious, so hunger solved. Or the next is post-purchase anxiety, which is called cognitive dissonance. Another outcome would be that John did not like the pizza at all that he ordered. He now experiences post-purchase anxiety or what is called cognitive dissonance. Dissonance is likely to increase when the dollar value of the purchase increases. So perhaps John now thinks that the pizza that he bought is too expensive, or when the rejected alternatives have desirable features that the chosen alternatives do not provide. So in this case, John might think that perhaps the Pizza Hut could have been more delicious. or when the purchase decision has a major effect on the buyer. So this is now what John could be thinking. To help reduce cognitive dissonance, marketers can provide information that supports the chosen item. So they can either purchase follow-up and personal attention, or advertising that stresses customer satisfaction. So in this case, Yellow Cab may include freebies or special offer coupons that offer a discount on the next purchase in order to address John's cognitive dissonance. Our next topic is how involvement level affects consumer decisions. Involvement is the degree of interest an individual has in the product, as well as how important that product is to them. Involvement may be high or low depending on the financial or social risk. When you say financial risk, this relates to the price of the product. Social risk relates to how consumers might be judged or perceived when wearing or using the product. So for example, buying French fries is considered low involvement versus deciding on buying a family car, which is considered high involvement because of the price that is involved, which is usually high. Consumer decision-making styles may be categorized into three. First, we have routinized response behavior, which means behavior that occurs for low involvement products that consumers purchase on a frequent basis. Financial and social risk are low. Next, we have limited problem solving, which are behavior that occurs for purchases that consumers make less frequently and when their knowledge or experience is limited. Financial and social risk may be relatively low. Lack of knowledge leads consumers to spend more time gathering information before making a purchasing decision. Next step is extended problem solving. This is the most complex decision style and occurs for high involvement products where financial and or social risk is high. So let's try to look at some examples of the consumer decision-making styles. First, we have routinized response behavior. The level of involvement is low and the extent of information search is just little. The length of time to make a decision is short. So example products would be purchasing toothpaste, detergent, or deodorant. Next, limited problem solving. The level of involvement here is low to moderate. Extent of information search could be little to moderate. And then the length of time to make a decision could be from short to medium. For example, clothing or cookware, personal electronics. So this will take a longer time to decide, and this is considered under the limited problem solving. Next step is extended problem solving. This is when the level of involvement is high and usually extent of information search is quite extensive. And then decision-making time could take longer than the previous two types. So examples would be when your family would purchase automobiles or furniture or college degree. So this takes a longer decision-making time and usually involves high or expensive or high financial involvement. Now let's look at what are the factors that influence consumer purchase behavior. First, social factors may include external influences such as culture, social class, reference groups, family, and opinion leaders. So remember, these are external influences. Next are psychological factors. These factors are internal to the individual, and this includes perceptions, learning, attitudes, needs, and motives, and self-concept. The next are situational factors. These are external factors related to the particular circumstances under which a purchase is made. So again, social factors include culture, social class, reference groups, opinion leaders, and family. So these are external factors. Psychological factors include internal perception, learning, attitudes, needs and motives, and self-concept. Situational factors are external factors and include physical surroundings, social surroundings, purchase reasons, and the buyer's mood and condition. So the last two are more on the internal factors. So let's look at the first of the five social factors, which are cultural influences. Culture means the values, beliefs, preferences, and taste handed down from one generation to the next. The broadest environmental determinant of consumer behavior is culture. So some cultural values change over time. Basic core values, though, do not. So, for example, work ethic, desire to accumulate wealth, and the importance of family and home life. Marketing strategies and business practices that work in one country may not work in another because each country have their own culture. Subcultures are groups with their own distinct modes of behavior. Marketers need to understand the differences among subcultures to develop effective marketing strategies. So in the case of the US, the three largest and fastest growing ethnic subcultures are Hispanics, Black or African Americans, and Asians. So how about in the Philippines? What are our cultural influences? Next in the social behavior or the social factors list are the social class. So social class are based upon an individual's occupation, education, income, wealth, and possessions. This can include consumers' purchasing behavior due to the amount of disposable income, as well as influence brand and store choice. So certain stores can attract certain consumers. So people can either belong to the upper class, middle class, or the lower class. Next in the social factors list is the reference groups. So when you say reference groups, these are people or institutions whose opinions are valued and to whom a person looks for guidance in his or her own behavior, values, and conduct. Examples are religious groups, social and leisure groups to which the individual may belong. Reference group influence is strongest when two conditions are met, namely the visibility of the product to others. For example, a highly visible car purchase is more likely to be influenced by the purchaser's reference group. Next, the purchaser's susceptibility to influence, like for example, teens often base buying decisions on their friends' opinion. Do you agree? Next, in the list of social factors are opinion leaders. So these are trendsetters who purchase a new product before others in a group and then influence others in their purchases. They are likely to share experiences and opinions via word of mouth or through social media. Examples are bloggers or social media influencers. Next is the family. The family may be the most important determinant of consumer behavior. When creating marketing messages, marketers must consider both genders as potential customers. So, research show that women have a greater role in making large family purchases. Women take the lead in choosing entertainment and outspend men in the purchase of electronics. Men are shopping more often at grocery stores, and men are taking a more active role in childcare. That is according to the latest survey. Children also and teenagers represent a huge market. Next, we go to the psychological factors influencing consumer behavior. First, we have perceptions. Perceptions are the meaning that a person attributes to incoming stimuli gathered through the five senses, namely sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. To get positive responses, marketers will double the size of a box. They may use certain colors or graphics to attract customers or develop unique packaging. A big challenge for marketers is getting their messages or products perceived in the first place. The next are learning responses. So, learnings are immediate or expected changes in consumer behavior as a result of experience. So, a positive initial experience results in repeat purchases and positive word of mouth. This provides incentive for others to experience the product. Marketers may invest significant resources influencing consumers to have that first experience and then use reinforcement to drive repeat purchases. Next are attitudes. So attitudes are a person's enduring favorable or unfavorable evaluations, emotions, or tendencies towards some object or idea. Attitudes are formed over time through individual experiences and group contexts, highly resistant to change when the attitudes have been formed over time. And marketers want to determine consumer attitudes toward their offerings and identify ways to change attitudes about their brand. Next are needs and motives. So, a need is an imbalance between the consumer's actual and desired states, as what we have discussed earlier when John realized that there is a gap between him realizing that he is hungry to a desired state wherein there is no more hunger or feeling of fullness. Maslow identified 5 levels of needs, arranging them into a hierarchy. So, motives are inner states that direct a person toward the goal of satisfying a need. Without motives, a consumer could have a legitimate need but never seek to satisfy it. So, let us try to look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how marketing strategies could be based on them. So we have first, the lowest level is the physiological needs. These include products such as food, water, medicine, vitamins, exercise equipment, and gym memberships, healthcare and cleaning products, sleep aids and mattresses, or food for pets. So, marketing themes could maybe say consistently, deliciously fresh, or some vitamins company and or may say live well. And a Colgate advertisement could say this is the number one recommended by dentists and hygienists. Next level is the safety needs level. These include health and life insurance, for example, computer antivirus, because it still is considered in the safety concerns. So, smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, antibacterial cleaners, business protection, or auto safety features. So, for example, marketing themes could could say from an insurance company may say, helping you save money. That's progressive. Or Blue Cross Blue Shield Association may say, the power of blue. Or Better Business Bureau may say, start with trust. So all this connotes or safety. Next level is the belongingness need. So sample products could be cosmetics, food, entertainment, fashion, appliances, and home furnishings, or clubs and organizations or cars, which may promote the feeling of belongingness of a person. So marketing themes could include, for example, for Avon Walk for Breast Cancer, they may have a campaign which says the more of us who walk, the more of us survive. So the word us alone promotes belongingness. Then it could say a Lowe's company, for example, may say, never stop improving. Or Lee Jeans may say, get what fits. Or Payless Shoes, save now, feel good. Olay products say, love the skin you're in. Or may say, drive one. So this will promote the feeling of belongingness of their prospective buyer and encourages them to buy. Next on the hierarchy of needs are the esteem needs. So products may include fashion, jewelry, gourmet food, electronics. So you might be wondering how gourmet foods can promote esteem or self-esteem. This could promote the person's self-esteem feeling that they are taking gourmet or first-class food. So other products may be electronics or cosmetics, luxury cars, credit cards, investments, sports and hobbies, travel or spa experiences. So an example marketing theme by Rolex watches may say, it doesn't just tell time, it tells history. Or Lincoln Automobiles, travel well. Or another would be, because you're worth it. So this type of statements could boost the feeling of self-esteem for the person reading them. And then the last level is the self-actualization level. So this includes products like education, cultural events, sports and hobbies, motivational seminars, technology, travel, investments. So a university may say, may have a tagline, I'm a phoenix. Or another tagline would say, unleash the power within, or the power of possibility. So you may notice that these taglines can invoke a feeling of self-actualization. So going back to the psychological factors, the last one is what is termed self-concepts. So self-concept is a person's view of themselves. So there are 4 self-concept components. First is the real self. This is the objective view of the total person. Next is the self-image. This is an individual's view of themselves. The next component is the looking glass self, an individual's view of how other people perceive them. And then there is the ideal self, an individual's view of who they aspire to be. So it is said that a person always moves towards his or her ideal self. So you may notice in the billboards or posters that you see, or in most of the advertisements, you will always see an ideal person. Okay. So the best or the winner or the champion. Okay, so this is because it is said that a person always move toward his or her ideal self. Now let's go to the situational factors influencing consumer behavior. So some situational elements may be controlled or created by the marketer. Others are uncontrollable elements outside of the marketer's influence. So what are these situational factors? First, we have physical surroundings. This include the store location, lighting, store size, the decor, the sounds, the aromas, especially, for example, in a cafe, or the merchandise displays. This can also include factors outside the marketer's control, like the weather or the adjacent businesses, which are mostly the competitors. So examples are specialty clothing boutiques typically have wider aisles and sparse, uncluttered displays, while discount stores have narrower aisles and shelves stacked full of goods, sometimes from floor to ceiling. So have you noticed that? The next situational factor are the social surroundings. These are the number and intent of other people around the purchase. So examples here, standing in line for concert tickets with other buyers might increase motivation to follow through with the purchase because you see that there are a lot of people having the same interest as you. Or another, eating at a restaurant with friends might lead to more consumption than if dining alone. Next situational factor includes the purchase reason. So this is more of an internal factor. So uh, purchasing for self versus others, or necessity versus discretionary purchases. So example, a store brand of soda may be purchased for individual consumption, but name brand sodas purchased for parties or social situations. Or it's likely you'll stop to fill an empty gas tank regardless of how much you want to buy gas. Next situational factor is the buyer's mood and condition. So the mood state, or whether, example, you're hungry, happy, sad, or anxious, and conditions of the buyer. So example, available spending money, or maybe the buyer could be sick. So this can affect the buyer's mood and the condition. Example, a hungry driver will be more likely to stop at a fast food restaurant than someone who just ate a full meal at home. Or a consumer who just received a bonus at work might be more likely to buy something new. So, summary, we have talked about the 6 steps in consumer buying decision process, namely the problem, opportunity recognition, information search, evaluation of alternatives, purchase decision, purchase behavior, and post-purchase evaluation. We also talked about high involvement versus low involvement decisions, which depend on the financial risk and the social risk involved in the purchase. Then we talked about the 5 social factors influencing consumer behavior, which are cultural influences, social class, reference groups, family, and opinion leaders. We have also discussed about the 5 psychological factors influencing consumer behaviors, namely perceptions, learning responses, attitudes, needs and motives, and self-concepts. Then finally, we talked about the 4 situational factors influencing consumer behavior, which are physical surroundings, social surroundings, purchase reason, and the buyer's mood and condition. So that is chapter 6, consumer behavior. Thank you.